Hello friends, I welcome you at the company Deltec, and today we want to show you our calcium reactor, the Deltec TwinTech CRTT, and we hope that we can give you answer to the most of your questions. Have fun! Here we have the calcium reactor, the name is Deltec TwinTech CRTT, and the main function of a calcium reactor is that you have a media and you dissolve this media with pH low water that you get here from this chamber. And then you dissolve this media to carbonate and to calcium. And those two things you need for your corals, because then they can grow as you want to. And the calcium reactor has different parts. So we start here. This is the feed pump. Then we have here some hoses. We have a sponge that avoid that particles can go inside the pump. We have here the solenoid. We have here the main controller, and on the other side we have a flow meter, which is measuring the flow in your system. Then we have the ballast. We have the funnel that you need to put inside the salt water and the media, inside the media chamber. And we have these two interesting tubes or pipes. And sometimes the people are asking, where do I have to do this? But those pipes are only extension that helps you to handle and to open your TwinTech. And the direction to open is like this, but you can also follow the arrows on the calcium reactor that shows you the direction. Close is this and open is this. So before we want to start with the calcium reactor, we have to connect all the things. So we put the sponge in front of the pump. Then we have to connect the hose here on this side. Yes, then we have the feed pump. We have here, you can see, we have with the blue color. That's very easy. You have to find at the controller also the blue, and then you can connect it. And the blue one is the feed pump. The red one here is coming from the recircling pump, which is here on top of the calcium reactor. You can also connect. So then you have the flow meter. You can put the flow meter here. So the water is coming here from the blue sponge, from the feed pump. Then there is a filter here. And the hose here has to be in the beginning of the flow meter. There's an arrow who can show you how the flow is. So you have to put this hose here behind into the flow meter. And then, because you want to pump the water inside your calcium reactor, you have to put this hose here, but you can also follow here the arrow which shows you the way. So now we have connected everything that we need. You have here the solenoid. The hoses for the solenoid is not included in the packaging, and also the CO2 bottle is not included. But you see here's also an arrow. You have to connect the hose from this side with the CO2 bottle, and from that side you're coming with the hose, and you're going here to back valve from the calcium reactor. Then you have here the cable from the float switch. In the moment we don't need, so we don't have to connect it. That is a part that we are doing later on. So now the next part is we have finished the main installing. Now we have to fill in the media and the salt water. We can show you how to do this. So we can unscrew here this screw. Then we have here this funnel. Screw, 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 screw. You can put in first the media. We are recommending Rovalit in size of 12 to 16 millimeter. Please do not use small materials, so otherwise you can get problems with the pump. It can be stuck. And then you have to fill in the media up to the D of Deltec. You have to put in the salt water also here through the funnel. And the very important thing is that if you want to start this calcium reactor, you have to avoid that there's any air inside the reactor. So you cannot run. If there's any air inside, it doesn't work. Yeah, now we are here at the Deltec sump. We are using the big Deltec marine box. And now we have here our Deltec TwinTech CRTT, the 1500. And we are using them for a very long time because we have big corals on the other side in our fish tank. And now we have stopped it. We are using it now for many, many months. But we now want to restart it. And it's the same procedure if you restart it, if you do the start for the first time. So there's no difference. The only difference that you can see is here that our media is a little bit down from the D. We are recommending, if you are starting the Deltec for the first time, that you fill up with media up to the D, but it's up to you. And then you have to fill up the rest with salt water. And the most important thing is for this machine is it's only running if there is no air inside. And you have to bring out the air outside of the reactor, and for that you have to open those hoses here with the closer. So now you have to fill it up with salt water, and then the air can go outside of the reactor. So we are connecting with the power. With the water flow, if you are pressing the mode button, you can fill in automatically or manual. So now we are here, water flow. We take a high amount, maybe 180. So, and the pump speed up to 100. That the pump, the recirculating pump is running. So, now you're going to water flow and you press the mode button for more than 4 seconds. And now here's process active, it's blue and it's with 1 starting, and now there's water running in the reactor. It's now counting up from 1, 2, so it's counting slowly now because we have a high amount of water flow, and now the medium chamber is filled up with water. To support this, this is the outlet of the reactor. You have to put the hose over those, so that you allow that the air can go out. It takes some while, maybe you have to do it 2 or 3 times. It depends on the water flow that you have adjusted and how many water you need to fill up the reactor. Now the water is coming out, so we can close them. Now the water is coming out here. We put it under the water. Now we can stop this process. Now we are ready to start again. Put in this. Now the reactor is starting again. Then we have to wait if the recirculating pump is running. You see here the water is coming. So it's now working. You can also put in the connection for the solenoid. Now we can open the CO2 bottle. And with the regulator, you can adjust here the amount. We are recommending 1 to 2 bars. We are using here with 1.8 bar. And very important thing, you need a 2-stage regulator, otherwise you cannot work with it. And you have it adjusted in the way that the gas is coming in slowly, not like a shot. It has to come in very slowly, otherwise the solenoid has no time to do its job. So now the reactor is running. You have to reduce the pump speed. So you press the mode button, then pump speed you can reduce to maybe 35. You can hold the button, then it's counting faster. And then you have to adjust also the amount that you want to feed. Maybe in the beginning you don't need that much, and you have to find out what is your water flow fitting to the KH that you want to have in your fish tank. So maybe if you are starting with 30, then you can see maybe and then you have to measure and you see you have a Ka from 7 and you want to 8, then you have to increase that. If you're pressing the mode button again, then you're on a degassing, and degassing, if the degassing is on the same amount like the water flow, then that means that's degassing once a day. That's what we are recommending. If you want to work it another way later on, you can do. Degassing means you have a lot of gases which are building on top of the reactor, and then you have to bring out those gases. And if the amount of the degassing is the same like the water flow, then it's degassing once a day. If you want to check if the feed pump is running, you can also use this. Then you can, if you're in a water flow modus, you can press the mode button, and then the feed pump is automatically starting. If the pump doesn't start, then maybe the pump is dirty, the pump is broken, or you have a problem with the other parts behind, maybe with the filter or with the flow meter. Then you have to have a look so you can test it. Yeah, but hopefully you have no problem and the CRTT is running and your corals enjoy the calcium. Yeah, the CRTT calcium reactor we are offering in 3 sizes, 3 models. The smallest one is the 5500, then we have the 3000 and the 10,000. Our brand names also want to speak something, to tell a story. So 1500 means it's a recommendation for a fish tank for 1500 liters, but it's very complicated to say for a calcium reactor for what fish tank it does it fit. It's a very efficient machine, so I think for most of your fish tanks the 1500 would be enough. If you had a lot of corals and maybe more than 1 fish tank, you can also use the 3000. Zoos, for example, Klimahaus, Bremerhaven, with very, very big tanks, they are using the 10,000. So I think everybody can find his sizes. Enjoy it.